Hello YouTube. Today we're going to be installing Windows XP Service Pack 3. You can do this on a virtual machine or on your real computer, but if you're doing it on your real computer, you're going to either have to have the real CD or you're going to have to burn an ISO image to the CD using a program something like Power ISO or Nero. Or if you're doing it on a virtual machine, you can just use the ISO if you want, but you can still use a real CD, but it's going to be a lot slower than using an ISO. And to do this on a real PC, you might have to go to your boot menu and choose to boot from CD, or you might have to go in your BIOS settings and choose to boot from your CD drive first instead of booting from the hard drive or floppy disk drive. So let's get started. So make sure the ISO is loaded or your physical drive, or you have the CD in your physical drive. On a real machine, it might say press any key to boot from CD, and then it'll say setup is examining hardware configuration. Now at the bottom of the screen right here where it's loading the files, it's loading a lot faster than it would from a normal CD because it's using an ISO, which is from my hard drive, and my hard drive is a lot faster than a CD-ROM drive, which I'm pretty sure it's faster for everybody. So if you have no partitions and your hard drive is like fresh and there's nothing on it, you're going to get to this screen where it says unpartitioned space. But if you have partitions, you can choose a partition and format it and then install it on that partition. But we're just going to create one primary partition. So you can choose the FAT or NTFS file system. We're going to use NTFS, and we're going to use quick because it's going to go a lot faster. As you see, that went pretty fast. Okay, now it's copying files. Once again, since I'm using an ISO, it copies a lot faster than it normally would from a real CD. And since it's going to take a while, I'm going to pause the video now and unpause it when it's almost done. And right now it's almost done copying the files. So now we're going to the next step. And now it's saying it's initializing your Windows XP configuration. And now it's restarting the computer. Don't hit any key to boot from CD unless you're gonna, because if you do, you're gonna go back to that screen and you're gonna have to go through all this stuff. So now it's gonna load the graphical user interface setup, or setup wizard, should I say. And as you see, now we can use the mouse. And it says it's gonna complete in approximately 39 minutes. So I'm going to pause it right now until it gets to the next step in setup. Okay, now, excuse me. Okay, I was eating some food. Once you get to this screen, you enter your name and organization, if you have one. Type in the name you want to name your computer, the name of your Mac PC. And you can type in an administrator password if you want to, but you don't need to. Set date and time. If it's all good, it's good. I don't really care about the time zone because I don't really care. And it's going to be installing a whole bunch of stuff now, so I'm going to pause it because it's going to take a really long time. So once it finishes installing the stuff, I'm going to unpause it. Alright, so after it installed everything, now it restarted. And once again, don't boot from CD unless you want to go back to initial setup screen where you can format and stuff. And now it's going to be loading Windows XP for the first time use. And you're going to get a message box saying something about resolution. Click OK, and if it looks good, keep it, and if it doesn't, just hit cancel, and it'll probably revert back to the old one. Yeah, over here, something about the resolution. And it looks good, so I'm gonna fit it into the screen now. Yeah, that's good. Okay, now it's gonna like load up the first use wizard, and you're just gonna go through things like, do you want updates, how to set up your internet, stuff like that. And you're just gonna be hitting next and then choosing what you want to choose. You can choose updates or not. I recommend it. And if you want to use internet, click yes. You click one of these two and hit next, or you can just skip it if you don't want to use internet, but you can set up later. If you want to register with Microsoft, no I don't. Now choose the user. Now enter the users that are going to be using the computer. If more than one user is going to be using it, you can fill them out over here. Hit next. If it says it's configured for internet access, that means you can use internet. And now Windows XP is loading. And now you should have a fully functional Windows XP installation. And now you can install antivirus, install better internet browsers, because Internet Explorer 6 is old and Internet Explorer isn't the best anyways. And it's just Windows XP. What you want is you can change settings in the control panel. You can just do what you do with Windows XP. Since this is Windows XP Service Pack 3, it has more themes. You can use the Zune theme, which I like. And that's pretty much it. Rate, comment, and subscribe.